Introducing Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare. The dramatic plot of Macbeth begins on a stormy night in Scotland. 3 witches are seen planning to meet Macbeth. Meanwhile, King Duncan, the King of Scotland, gets new news about the state of battle he is in. He learns that the Thane of Cawdor is a traitor, so Duncan orders his capture and execution. He decides to replace the Thane with Macbeth and sends messengers to notify him. We now see Macbeth as he hears his future, not only from the messengers, but from the witches too.
Where have you been, sister?
Killing pigs.
Sister, where are you? A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, I said. You be gone, witch, the red Runyon cried. Her husband went to Aleppo, master of the tiger, but I'll sail there in a sieve. And like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do.
I'll give you a wind.
You're kind.
I will too.
And I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know, in the shipman's compass. I'll drain him dry as hay. He won't sleep night nor day. His eyelids he cannot close. He shall live a cursed man. Weary every day for 81 weeks. He will dwindle, peak, and pine. Though his ship cannot be lost, it shall be tempest-tossed. Look what I have. Show me. Here I have a pilot's thumb. He wrecked his ship on his way home. A drum, Macbeth has come.
The weird sisters hand in hand, hosters of the sea and land, thus to go about, thrice to thrive and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace!
The charm's wound up.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far to floors? What are these? They look not like the inhabitants of earth, yet are in it. Are you alive? Are you not that man may question? You seem to understand me, for one by one you put your withered fingers on skinny lips. You look as though I should call you women, yet your complexion forbids me to do so.
Speak if you can. What are you?
Hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
Hail, Macbeth, to be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you seem so startled and afraid by the sounds of so fair? In the name of truth, are you fantastical, or are you really what you seem? My noble partner, you greet with grace and great prediction of noble havings and royal hope, so that he seems transported by it all. To me you speak not. If you can truly see into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak to me, who fears not nor begs your favor nor your hate.
Hail,
Hail.
hail. Blessed the Macbeth and greater.
You shall have kings, though you won't be one, so all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By my father's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman. And to be king does not lie within the prospects of belief, no more than the Thane of Cawdor. Say from where you received this strange information, or why you come to this desolate place with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I command you.
The earth has bubbles as the water does, and these were of them. Where did they vanish to?
Into thin air. Their bodies seem to melt like breath into the wind.
Were the things we were talking about really here, or have we eaten upon the insane nuke that takes the mind prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, was it not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who's here?
The king has happily received, Macbeth, the news of your success, and when he reads your personal venture in the rebels' fight, the wonder he feels, which makes him speechless, vies with his desire to offer praise. Silenced with that, and looking back over the rest of the same day, he found you fighting against the dauntless Norwegian army. Nothing made you fear for your life as you strangely killed others. As thick as tail came messenger after messenger, and everyone did hear your praises in the kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him.
We are sent to give you thanks from our royal master, only to call you into his presence, not to pay you.
And for a promise of greater honor, he told me to call you Thane of Cawdor, in which addition, hail most worthy Thane, for it is yours.
Can the devil speak truth?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you address me in borrowed robes?
He who was the thing still lives, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was conspiring with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that, with both, he fought in his country's destruction, I know not, but treason's capital confessed and proved has overthrown him.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your trouble. Do you not hope your children shall be kings when those that promise Thane of Cawdor to me promise no less to them?
If you trust in them, you may be on your way to the crown, as well as the Thane of Cawdor, but 'tis strange, and can often lead us to our harms. The instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, only to betray us in deepest consequence. Friends, a word I beg you.
Two truths are told as fortunate prologues to the nearing act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. The supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why has it given me promise of success, convincing and a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image does give me chills? And make my seated heart knock over my ribs against the use of nature. Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought whose murder is yet but fantastical. Shakes so my single state of man, that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what it is not.
Look how our partner's spellbound.
If chance may have me king, why chance may crown me, without my stir.
New honors come upon him like new clothes, they do not fit well without wearing them in.
Come what may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we are waiting on you.
I beg your pardon. My dull brain was distracted by other things. Kind gentlemen, I will remember your troubles when I look back on this day. Let us go to the king. Think about what has happened, and having thought about it now, one more time, let us speak freely to each other.
Very gladly.
Until then, enough. Let us go, friends.
Macbeth, now Thane of Cawdor, is on his way to see the king, of whom, according to the witches, he will one day take the place.
When Macbeth arrives, he hears Duncan has just named his eldest son Malcolm as his successor. Macbeth now realizes he must take action if he is to be crowned. Macbeth immediately writes to his wife to inform her of his new position and the promise of more. Upon receiving the news, Lady Macbeth, doubting her husband's ability to achieve the position of king, immediately calls upon the spirits to invoke her with wickedness, and thus the ability to kill Duncan without a hint of remorse.
Duncan makes plans to stay at Macbeth's castle. Little does he know he is walking into a death trap. Together, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth devise and carry out a plan of execution.
When Duncan's death is discovered, both his sons flee the country, fearing their lives are at risk. This conveniently makes it look as if they are guilty of planning their own father's murder, and no one ever questions Macbeth. Instead, Macbeth is crowned king, as predicted.
Conflict now begins to arise between Macbeth and Banquo because Banquo, the only person other than Lady Macbeth who knew of the prediction, begins to suspect that it was Macbeth who killed Duncan. The distrust leads Macbeth to fear that the second part of the prediction would hold true. Banquo's children will be the future kings.
To prevent this from happening, Macbeth hires murderers to kill Banquo and his son Fleance, and refuses to tell Lady Macbeth of his plan. Later, at one of Macbeth's banquets, Macbeth receives the news that Banquo has been successfully assassinated. However, Fleance escaped.
When Macbeth returns to the feast, he is confronted by Banquo's ghost, but no one else can see it. After he makes quite a scene, Lady Macbeth is forced to dismiss the guests. When Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are alone, he resolves to meet with the witches again.
We now see the witches meeting together with an angry Hecate, and we also see how Macbeth is losing support through a scene with Lennox and another lord.
What's wrong, Hecate? You look angry.
Have I not reason? Bedlams as you are, saucy and overbold, how did you dare try traffic with Macbeth? In riddles and affairs of death, and I, mistress of your charms, and close conceiver of all harms, was not called to bear my part or show the glory of our art. Which is worse, all this you have done hath been but for a wayward son. Spiteful and wrathful, who, as others do, loves for his own ends and not for you. Make amends now, get you gone, to the pit of Atheron. Meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Vessels and spells provide, charms and everything beside. I am for the air. This night I'll spend to a dismal and fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon. Upon the core of the moon there sits a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it ere it come to ground, and that, distilled by magic sleights, shall bring about such artificial sprites, and by the strength of their illusion shall draw him onto his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear hope above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know that security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Hark! I am called. My little spirit sea sits in a foggy cloud and stays for me. Come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, so draw your own conclusions. Only I say things have been strange lately. The gracious Duncan was pitied by Macbeth after he was dead, and the right valiant Banquo watched too late, whom you may say, if it please you, Fleance killed for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who can help but think about how monstrous it was for Malcolm and Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Blasted fact how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage stab the 2 guards that were the slaves of drink and confinement of sleep? Was that not nobly done? Yes, and wisely too, for it would have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So I say that Macbeth has handled all things well. And I do think that if he had Duncan's sons locked in jail, and if it pleases heaven he will not, they should find what it means to kill a father. So should Fleance. But peace. I have heard rumors that because Macduff has failed to show himself at Macbeth's feast, I hear he lives in disgrace. Sir, Can you tell me where he's hiding?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court. And I heard that King Edward treats him with such grace that his unfortunate circumstances do not deprive him of his due respect. There Macbeth has gone to beg the holy king for his aid, to make allies in Northumberland and warlike seaward, that with the help of them and him above to ratify the work, we may again put food on the tables and go to sleep at night, free our feasts and banquets from bloody knives, give our respect and receive free honors, all of which we pine for now. And this report he has so exasperated the king that he prepares for some attempt of war.
Did he send for Macduff?
He did not. And with an absolute, "Sir, not I," the messenger and turned his back and granted as if you say, "You'll rule the time that you gave me this answer."
And that might well advise him to be cautious, to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message before he comes, that swift blessing may soon return to this, our suffering country, under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.
Thrice the brindled cat hath thrice and once the hedgehog cried. The spirit heartier cries, "'Tis time! 'Tis time!"
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad, then a cold stone, days and nights is 31. Sweltered venom sleeping got. Throw thou first to be charmed hot.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a finny snake, in the cauldron, boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, burn and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble,
fire burn and cauldron bubble.
scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, gaw and goof, of the raven, salt sea shark. Root of hemlock, digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slip of yew, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drape. Make the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto a tiger's cauldron for the ingredients of our cauldron.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good.
Oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. Now about the cauldron scene, like elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that we put in.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks.
Double, double toil and trouble, fire burning, cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burning, cauldron bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire come